Bonjour and welcome to this new lesson. Today we're going to talk first about proper nouns. And why are we going to talk about proper nouns? Simply because people always assume that proper nouns will be the same in other languages, especially because a lot of time they're going to be spelled the same. Yet the pronunciation is very different and you will assume people will understand, they won't, and it's going to be frustrating, and you will not even understand the proper nouns that other people use in French, Spanish, or other languages. So let's go over them in French and let's see how they sound. For instance, the city of Miami is going to be pronounced Miami, okay? Miami. And if you say Miami, a lot of French people will not understand. So make sure you say Miami. Then we have obviously Paris, Paris. Well, Paris, even if you say Paris, I think people will understand because they're so used to hearing Paris from English speakers. Yet, you should know that you don't pronounce the S, and so it is really pronounced Paris, Paris. D'accord? And it's also the same word as the word a bet. It's un Paris. If it helps, maybe it will not help. All right. So Paris. Then we have Londres. Londres is London. Londres, so it's even spelled differently. Londres. So we don't say the ES at the end. Okay? Londres. Then we have Hong Kong. The H is silent. D'accord? So we say Hong Kong. Hong Kong. For Hong Kong. H is silent. Hong Kong. Ensuite, then we have Beijing is Pékin in French. Pékin. Pékin. The tooth fairy, well, she's got a French name, and she's not a fairy, she's a mouse in French. All right, so it's la petite souris. And remember that the E's without an accent that are in second position of a word, second sound of a word, are going to be swallowed in French. So petite is really going to be pronounced petite. So it's la petite souris is really pronounced la petite souris. Like this. La petite souris. La petite souris. The tooth fairy. We have Donald et Mickey. Donald et Mickey. Donald et Mickey. Cendrillon. Cendrillon. We have Blanche-Neige. It's interesting how in both languages we try to make it sound very romantic, literary, by switching the order of the adjective. It's interesting how in both languages we try to switch the order of the adjective and the noun. And in French we have Blanche-Neige, white snow, and in English Snow White, which sounds weird in the other language, even though it's not the usual order in either language. But that's how it is. We have Peter Pan. Peter Pan. D'accord? Peter Pan. Tinkerbell is la fée clochette. La fée clochette. Remember that a bell is une cloche. Une cloche is a bell. Une cloche. So la fée clochette. Une fée. So the bell fairy. La fée clochette. D'accord? Then we have Popeye. Popeye. That's why if people hear Popeye in French, they have no idea who you're talking about. Popeye in French, d'accord? These guys are les Schtroumpfs, les Schtroumpfs, les Schtroumpfs. Not necessarily the best cartoon to show kids if you want to teach them how to speak French, because they turn every word into a Schtroumpf this, Schtroumpf that, and all the verbs are Schtroumpf this, Schtroumpf that, and we have to figure out what it is. All right, so I don't think it's necessarily the best to teach kids how to speak French. And finally, we have La Reine des Neiges for Frozen. The Queen of Snows. La Reine des Neiges, she's called. Okay? All right. Okay, moving on to something else. We're going to talk about the useful injunctions that you might want to use every day. Those little words, commands that you want to be able to say. So here they are. First, if you want to tell one person, a person that is close to you, either a kid or someone, a friend, husband, parent, brother, cousin, you say viens, viens, which is informal. That one. Viens. Informal. Viens. You don't say the S. To a group of people or someone you don't know and you want to be formal, you would say venez. Venez. Okay? Then come back is reviens. Reviens. For someone you know in an informal way. Reviens. And a group of people or someone that you don't know, you say revenez, or someone you might want to show respect to. Revenez. And again, this E is going to be silent. Revenez. All right? I'm coming is j'arrive. as in I'm arriving, but that's really how we say I'm coming. J'arrive, j'arrive. I'm coming, I'm coming. J'arrive. Wait in an informal way would be attends, attends. Okay? And in a formal way would be attendez, or plural. Attends. The D and the S are silent. And in the plural or formal would be attendez, attendez. Remember the easy is pronounced E. Attendez. Hold on the phone if you're talking to someone you know, a kid or someone you know, friend or family member, would be ne quitte pas. Ne quitte pas. It sounds like don't quit, but really the verb quitter is the verb to leave someone or a place. So ne quitte pas. Don't go away, really. Hold on. And a lot of people, you'll learn that in the future, in future lessons, but in the negative form, if you haven't heard that before, it means that your teachers did not tell you the whole story. The ne in the negative form is going to be skipped most of the time by the French. So a lot of people would say quitte pas, okay? Same thing with the formal, ne quittez pas, but people will most likely say quittez pas. Some will say ne quittez pas, but most people will say quittez pas, okay? Ensuite, so what would be et alors? Et alors? Alors, we don't say the S, okay? So what? Et alors? D'accord, with the French attitude. Et alors? Forget it is laisse tomber. Informal, laisse tomber. Laisse tomber, which is really the verb, it's one of the few verbs that is made up of two verbs in French. Laisse tomber, which is to let fall. And originally, really, laisser tomber is the verb to drop. Okay, to drop. Il laisse tomber l'assiette, he's dropping the plate. D'accord? He's dropping the plate. He's letting fall the plate. D'accord? Il laisse tomber l'assiette. Donc, laisse tomber is forget it. Informal. It's on TV. We don't say it's on TV. If you ever say it's on TV, it's sur la télé, we say it's on top of the TV for us. So we say it's at the TV. C'est à la télé. Okay? C'est à la télé. Remember, so télé. C'est à la télé. If I say it slowly, I should connect the T with the next vowel and say c'est à la télé, but it's part of the few, of the many actually, the many liaisons. Remember the liaison is the blending of the last consonant of a word with the next vowel, because the last consonants of words in French are silent, almost all of them. And if they're followed by a vowel, you'll hear that theoretically they're connected with what we call liaison, connection, blending. But in reality, what people don't really say is that we skip many of those liaisons, like 60% of them I would say we skip. So that would be one of them. C'est à la télé. It's on TV. Same thing with on the phone. In English, you talk about being on the phone. If you say that in French, it sounds like you're sitting on top of the phone. So we're at the phone in French. Je suis au téléphone. If I say it slowly again, I'm supposed to connect that silent S to the next vowel sound, saying je suis au téléphone with a Z sound, okay? But when people speak fast, they won't do it. And actually, if you haven't heard that already, learning the verb être, je suis, the French will almost never say je suis properly like this. They will try to drop the E and blend the J and the S together, and it's going to turn into suis, all right? Something very important. The French will almost never say je suis properly. They will say suis. And native speakers usually don't teach it because they don't hear it. They don't have the perspective. They think it's the same, je suis or suis. Or they think sometimes that they should not teach suis. And they're convinced that all of them, they don't say that. They don't say je suis because it's not so proper theoretically. But everyone does say suis. Okay? Don't feel bad. It's okay. People don't realize. All right? So expect people to say suis, not je suis. You'll barely ever hear je suis in French. Au téléphone, on the phone. D'accord? Now, go ahead. To a friend, you would say vas-y, or a family member, you say vas-y, go ahead. A group of people or a person with whom you want to be formal, you say allez-y. Vas-y, allez-y, for go ahead. D'accord? Here you go is tiens. You hold something, you give something to someone, say, here you go. Here you say tiens. Tiens for a friend or family member. Tenez for someone you don't know. Tenez. And this is the origin of the word tennis, by the way. When tennis first came out in the late 19th century, they had the net, the tennis court, and they started, throwing because they couldn't play. So they threw the ball on the other side, and they say in France, and they say tenez. It was old pronunciation of tenez, older pronunciation from 150 years ago, and we're in 2016, almost 150 years ago. And they say tenez, tenez, and so the British call it they say tennis all the time. Let's call it tennis, okay? So tennis comes from the word tenez. D'accord? Then that's it would be c'est tout. C'est tout. Even if you're ordering food and someone's serving you, say, oh, that's it, that's it. C'est tout, c'est tout. Okay? My turn, pretty useful. Say, à mon tour, my turn, à mon tour, à mon tour. Mon is my, okay? That's the subject of another lesson. You've probably heard Saba before. Saba is the standard way of saying, how are you, how you doing? Ça va, and the answer would be, ça va, same thing. And the reason is that it means it goes, it's going. And to ask a question, you can really do subject, verb, and raise your voice. So you say, it's going? Yeah, it's going. So ça va. How is it going? It's going well. So it's also the way you would ask, are you okay? Ça va? Are you going well? It's understood. Ça va? Oui, ça va. Yes, I'm okay. Ça va. D'accord? Very convenient, really. It's no big deal. It doesn't matter. It's c'est pas grave. C'est pas grave. It's not serious. Okay? C'est pas grave. It doesn't matter. Or it's no big deal. C'est pas grave. D'accord? To cheer for someone, a team or something, say, allez, allez, come on, allez. Even if you insist on something, come on, let's do this. Allez. Okay? Allez. All right, moving on to something else. All right, so we're going to learn how to describe people. Let's see. We're going to go over plenty of adjectives. It's going to be interesting. The first one is very interesting, is to ask, what is he like? What is she like? We're going to say it differently in French simply because otherwise there's going to be a big misunderstanding. The way we say it, we say, how is she? Right? So you understand something else in English. If you hear, how is she? You think, how is she doing? Yet in French, we would say, comment il va? Or comment va-t-il? How is he going? Comment va-t-il? How is he doing is how is he going? So how is he really means for us, what is he like? What is she like? Comment est-elle? Okay? And then we say what she's like, how she is. Je suis petit. I'm short, actually. I'm short. Okay? I'm small, I'm short. Je suis petit. Pas content, not happy. Pas content. For a boy, a girl would say pas contente. Okay? We'd add an E and we pronounce the T. Pas contente. Pas content. Je suis petit. Again, as I told you, the je suis is combined together. We're dropping the E and we're blending the J and the S together into sh. So it's je suis petit. And again, I told you that the E is dropped in second position of a word. So je suis petit. Most people will say je suis petit or je suis petit. It depends. D'accord? So expect people to say je suis petit or je suis petit. Je suis un petit garçon or je suis un petit garçon. Je suis un petit garçon. That's how the native speakers would say it. For je suis un petit garçon. D'accord? Then je suis petite. I'm short. D'accord? Petite. D'accord? I'm short. Je suis petite. Or je suis petite. Très petite. Very small. Très petite. Ensuite, il est grand. He's tall. Il est grand. Très grand. Très grand. Very tall. Il est grand. So for the masculine, we don't say the D. We don't hear it. But look at the feminine now. I'm adding an E for the feminine, so I'm pronouncing the D. Je suis grande. And she would probably say, je suis grande. Je suis grande. Elle est géante. She's a giant. A boy would be, il est géant. D'accord? Like this. Il est géant. Okay? Ensuite, to describe someone, talking about hair, we're going to word it a little differently in French, okay? So she has short hair, we're going to say she has the hair short. Elle a les cheveux courts. And look at this, we haven't done that yet, or we have actually. Les is plural, right? So we say she has the hairs short. Elle a les as opposed to le, okay? Remember the singular is le, pronounced le, and this is les. All right, keep that in mind, le, les. Elle a les cheveux courts. And in an ideal world, people would speak that slowly, but they don't. So here's how they would say this. The French would say, elle a les cheveux courts. Again, we have an E in second position. It's the second sound of the word. Sh is the first one, E is second. So it's going to be dropped by most people. And people would say, elle a les cheveux courts. Elle a les cheveux courts. You don't have to say it like this. You don't have to say that fast if you don't feel comfortable. But just keep it in the back of your mind so that you can understand people. That they will say, elle a les cheveux courts. Okay? The T and the S are silent. Elle a des boucles d'oreilles. She has some earrings. Elle a des boucles d'oreilles. Okay? She has long hair. She has the hair long. Elle a les cheveux longs. We don't hear the X. Again, if I say it faster, I'm going to drop that E and I would say elle a les cheveux longs. Elle a les cheveux longs. Elle a deux montres. She has two watches. A watch is une montre. And you're all thinking that, many of you will be thinking, I've seen that word before. I think you've might have heard of the verb montrer, which is different. It's really to show, really. So it's somewhat connected. Okay, montrer, to show. So elle a deux montres. She has two watches. D'accord? Elle a les cheveux lisses. Elle a les cheveux lisses. Elle a les cheveux lisses. She has straight hair. Elle a les cheveux lisses. C'est qui? Who is she? C'est Penelope Cruz. C'est Penelope Cruz. It's Penelope Cruz. Okay, we call her Penelope. Penelope Cruz. Ensuite, she has curly hair. Curly is the word bouclé. Bouclé. Donc, elle a les cheveux bouclés. She has curly hair. If I said this faster, the way I would say to a friend, I would say, elle a les cheveux bouclés. I drop the E. Elle a les cheveux bouclés. Elle a les cheveux longs. She has long hair. D'accord? He has blue eyes. Il a les yeux bleus. Okay, you see how I connect the S that's usually silent to the next vowel sound. Il a les yeux bleus. Il a un t-shirt rouge. He has a red t-shirt. When we go over the adjectives, you'll see that the adjectives in French go after the noun, so it's pretty counterintuitive for an English speaker, but that's how it is. So he has a red t-shirt. Il a un t-shirt rouge. Il a les yeux bleus. D'accord? He has green eyes. Il a les yeux verts. Again, I'm connecting that S with the vowel sound, with the Z sound. Il a les yeux verts. Il a les yeux verts. We don't hear the T and the S. Il est bronzé. He's tanned. That's how you say he's got a tan. Il est bronzé. Remember, when you see the accent on the E, it means you have to pronounce it E. So, il est bronzé. Okay? They have brown eyes. Elles ont les yeux marrons. There are a bunch of liaison here. We have a liaison here that we have to make. Elles ont les yeux. So it's part of the 40%, I would say, of liaison that you have to make. Elles ont les yeux marrons. Marron is the word color brown. Something that's not a big deal, but it's good to know. You might wonder, why didn't you write an S here? Because there are two colors in French that don't take an S. It's orange and brown, simply because they have a meaning of their own. We saw that in the lesson before in the video. It's because orange means orange, and brown, marron is a chestnut. For that reason, if you call it a reason, or I would call it an excuse to make things a little more complicated than they should be, well, we don't put an S on those two colors. Elles ont les yeux bleus. D'accord? Then, il est blond. He's blonde. Make sure you don't say the D, otherwise it sounds like you're talking about a girl. So, il est blond. No D. Il est blond. Il est sérieux. I think he's mad. But for a girl, you would say, elle est blonde. We add an E, that means you pronounce the D. Elle est blonde. Elle est blonde. Elle a des taches de rousseur. She has freckles. The word for freckles, as weird as it may sound, is tache de rousseur, which you're not going to like this, especially if you have red hair or if you have freckles. But we call them stains of redness. I don't know why. But we don't hear it as a stain, really. It's tache de rousseur together with freckles. Elle a des taches de rousseur. D'accord? He has brown hair. Il est brun. Again, that's for a boy. Brun. The UN together is un, so you don't hear an N alone, okay? Il est brun, otherwise that'd be for the feminine. We'll see that in a moment. Il a les yeux verts. He has the eyes green. Il a les yeux verts. We don't hear the TS. Il a les yeux verts. Il est brun. And for a girl, elle est brune. Now we separate the U and the N, and we do pronounce the N. Elle est brune. Elle est brune. Elle a les yeux bleus. I don't know why I wrote she. It's elle a les yeux bleus. D'accord? She has blue eyes. She has red hair. Elle est rousse. Elle est rousse. She has very long hair. Elle a les cheveux très longs. Again, I'm going to skip this E if I speak fast and say elle a les cheveux très longs. Elle a les cheveux très longs. The masculine of red hair is roux. Okay, remember the feminine for red hair is rousse, rousse, and the masculine is roux. Il est roux. We don't hear the X. Il est roux. Okay, and keep in mind the French would love to use the word un rouquin for red hair, a redhead, un rouquin, and une rouquine for a redhead for a girl. He's a redhead. C'est un rouquin. She's a redhead. C'est une rouquine. We use that all the time. Okay, good to know. Elle est rousse. She has red hair. Elle est rousse. D'accord? That's it for today. See you soon for another lesson. Salut!